In late 2015, it was announced that PBS darling Sesame Street would now be airing on premium channel HBO, 9 months before they became available for free viewing on PBS. Contrary to the narrative at the time, HBO didn't actually buy Sesame Street. The agreement was more of a partnership with Sesame Workshop. Also, despite popular belief, PBS has never actually owned those fuzzy little monsters. Oh, I just realized you can't see my Gonzo shirt. Hold on, I'm gonna lower my camera a little bit. It's important. Okay, there. But now you, oh jeez. Ah! Hold on.
And all I've got to offer is sensitivity, intelligence, and charm.
Okay, that works. Gonzo. Muppet hat. Locked in. Full ownership actually belongs to SW or Sesame Workshop, and always has. PBS just has the sole broadcasting rights, or historically they have. This partnership with HBO resulted in huge profit increases, which allowed Sesame Workshop to increase their episode output from 18 to 35 episodes per year. Before this, the program was operating at a loss of, $11 million. So this was quite the improvement. According to SW COO Steve Youngwood, this move to partner with HBO was one of the toughest decisions they've ever made. More on why that might be later. In late 2024, HBO made the decision to back out of the partnership, leaving Big Bird homeless, much like his grumpy neighbor, Oscar. You guys always assumed Oscar is homeless, right? But have no fear, Netflix is here. It was announced on May 19th, 2025, that Netflix would become the new home of Elmo and his weird uncle, Mr. Noodle. Notably, episodes will be available on PBS the same day they become available on Netflix. No 9-month wait here. According to a press release from SW, 15% of Netflix's user base watches children's or family content on a regular basis. This all seems to be a win-win. Sesame Street is saved, Netflix is growing their children's programming footprint. Huzzah. So, why are people upset? Why was that initial decision to partner with HBO such a tough decision for Steve Youngwood? For that, we'll need to take a journey in my time machine to 1969. And please forget I just said the time machine thing. That was really cringe. When Sesame Street first premiered on November 10th, 1969, it was not nearly as beloved as it is today. In fact, the new children's program was seen as quite controversial, even radical. From its inception, Sesame Street could be found on PBS, then known as NET, or the National Education Network. The National Education Television Network. I was like, that doesn't spell net, but yeah. From day one, the show has been produced by Sesame Workshop in New York City, and actually filmed right down the street from where I live, which is probably one of the coolest things about living here. The Sesame Workshop is a nonprofit dedicated to children's education and entertainment. The workshop used to produce a whopping 130 hour-long episodes per season of Sesame Street. However, due to a decrease in funding, this was eventually reduced to 30 30-minute-long episodes. The show was created by Joan Gans Cooney, John Stone, and, of course, Jim Henson, as a way to bring educational content to the entire nation with a focus on children of color in cities, who may not have the same educational opportunities as their richer, whiter counterparts. According to the director of a documentary called Street Gang, Marilyn Agrello, In 1969, what was on TV for kids was a very dire landscape. Basically, the programming was geared towards selling children toys, cereal, and Tootsie Rolls.
Okay, wallet. Okay, there's a wallet right there. Okay, thanks a lot. Here's your Tootsie Roll.
And there was really no thought of educating them in any way. When Sesame Street came around, the United States was in a state of turmoil. Are we ever not? Am I right? I'm so tired. And those outside forces played a big role in what Sesame Street would eventually become. To quote Agrello again, the people who started the show were intent on harnessing all of the energy that was around the protests of the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement, Agrello says. They wanted to explain the world to children, but their bigger goal was to reach inner-city children of color who were not getting the same educational opportunities as the white children in the suburbs were getting. Let's talk a bit more about the core mission of Sesame Street, its urban city setting, and the importance of its public access. Sesame Street is a show for preschoolers, and it features a neighbor experiencing homelessness. Let that sit for just a minute. In 2018, Sesame Street unveiled a character named Lily, a young Muppet whose family has lost their home.
Well, it's just that, my bedroom is purple, and purple's my favorite color, and it reminds me of my bedroom. And, we don't have our own apartment anymore, and we've been staying in all different kinds of places.
Lily, no matter where you are, always remember, the thing about home is more than a house or an apartment. Home is really where the love is.
This character wasn't introduced for headlines or controversy. This character was introduced because that's the reality that many children in the United States are living with. According to the National Center of Homeless Education, over 1.1 million public school students experienced homelessness in the 2020 to 2021 school year alone. This is in the United States. These aren't isolated cases, these are entire classrooms, entire districts of kids growing up with instability as their baseline. Sesame Street has shown them a world where they still matter, where they aren't weird or broken or morally depraved. They're just going through something really hard and they're still loved. And that's not just important, that's revolutionary. Sesame Street is a part of a much bigger idea. Public education in all of its forms. So let's talk numbers. Whether we're talking Sesame Street or teachers in underfunded schools, we're talking about an investment. As of recent federal budgets, PBS and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting receive about $500 million per year from the government. Now, that sounds like a lot, until you realize that's only 0.01% of the overall federal budget. To put that into perspective, the US military spends that much about every 4 hours. Meanwhile, the return on investment for early education and educational programming is massive. According to studies from the Brookings Institution and the National Bureau of Economic Research, high-quality early childhood education can lead to higher school preparedness, higher graduation rates, and even reduced crime and incarceration. Public TV shows like Sesame Street have been shown to improve cognitive skills amongst preschoolers, especially in low-income households. In fact, a 2015 study conducted by the University of Maryland and Wesley College found that Sesame Street had educational benefits on par with preschool. We are getting a college-level impact here for literal pennies on the dollar. And yet, we have to keep fighting for it. Why? Because we live in an era where, forgive me, number go up is the highest virtue. I'm so sorry I just said number go up. I know that's also very cringe to say these days. If it doesn't generate a 200% return for shareholders or double engagement numbers every quarter, it's deemed a failure. We've trained ourselves to value the viral over the valuable, the profitable over the principled. This obsession with monetization is not only warping our entertainment, but our values. YouTube algorithms boost rage bait and garbage like that because it keeps people watching longer. Educational programming, not so much. Unless it's wrapped up in clickbait and controversy. Even shows designed for kids are often made to sell toys, much like where we started in 1969.
Okay, thanks a lot. Here's your Tootsie Roll.
Now, obviously, money keeps the lights on. But when every decision is made through the filter of how can I squeeze more sense out of this stone, we lose things that don't immediately scale, like empathy. Shows like Sesame Street, and by extension, public libraries, public schools, community programs, etc., they don't exist to create billion-dollar IPs. They exist to create better humans. So, where do we go from here? I honestly do think this Netflix deal might be a good thing, at least in the short term. Sorry, there was a hair in my mug. Obviously, the ideal situation would be Obviously, the ideal situation would be more funding for PBS and Sesame Workshop that allows them to exist as they have for, I don't know, how many years is it? 60? Almost 60. Almost 60 years. At least with the Netflix partnership, the programming is getting out and is still free to everybody. But we need to fund public education and public media with the seriousness it deserves. Not just as charity, but as infrastructure. The same way we would fund bridges or roads. Because, and this is going to be super cheesy, I've been real cheesy this video. Brains are built too, especially in those early years. Like a bridge or a road. Get it? We also need to be more conscious consumers. If you're a parent, choose shows that reflect your values to show your children. It's probably not Cocomelon. If you're a voter, which I hope you are, support candidates who protect public education. And if you're a creator, use your platform to educate as well as entertain. And to show everyone your cursed decorative pillows. Because the world we want doesn't start in the boardroom of some billionaire's secret lab. It starts in the neighborhood, on the big comfy couch, with a kid and a puppet with a message that says, "You belong, you matter, you're not alone." That's the purpose of Sesame Street. And honestly, putting Sesame Street on HBO was like such a weird move. Like, HBO is so adult. Hi, thank you for watching this video. It's something I am actually very passionate about. Like I said, I live very close to where they filmed Sesame Street, still to this day. And I don't know if you can read my hat, but it says, I appreciate the Muppets on a much deeper level than you. Which I assure you is the truth. If you liked this video, why not give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, share it, engage with it in some way. Please, the algorithm gods. If you want to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button. If you would like to support the channel, links to my Patreon and some cheeky little merch is in the link tree below. I appreciate my patrons so much. I feel like with the topic of this video, it just bears repeating. Like, it feels more relevant how much I appreciate you guys. If you didn't like the video, C is for cookie. Go try one. Maybe it'll help you calm down. That didn't make any sense. Okay, bye!